Happy week 154, everyone. Not so happy over here. My tooth is killing me. I gotta get something pulled in like an hour, so I gotta make this quick because my face hurts a lot. Any dentists on here want to do me a solid? I don't have insurance. Anyway, it's week 154, and if you are in the news at all, you saw that the employment numbers came out in Canada and in the US, both just crushing economists' expectations. Canada created $150,000 jobs, the US over $500,000 jobs, which might sound like it's good news. It kind of is, but in the short term, it sucks because any hopes of us being able to have a rate halt or the hike cycle halted at the March announcement have been pretty much dashed. Inflation numbers aren't terrible. They are down kind of in the States based on their announcement this morning on February the 14th. Nice little Valentine's Day message, 0.1% decrease in the overall monthly calculation for inflation there. So it's really nothing to write home about, as a lot of the things that require day-to-day attention in your home are still more expensive because of the fact that pretty much every company in the United States that's not one of the big tech companies is hiring right now. Labor is a lot more expensive, which means your products and services are going to be a lot more expensive, which ultimately is going to contribute to a much slower decline in the inflation numbers than we had hoped for. So let me adjust my gain here for a sec. I feel like it's loud. Hopefully that's better. So all that being said, what's going on in the Toronto real estate market? And again, week 154 is 154 weeks from March of 2020 when I first started tracking the market. And weekly reporting now is even more important than it ever was, because the ebbs and flows of this kind of market in between news cycles that, the January cycle was a good one at the end of January with the announcement, as we talked about in week 152, with the potential halt to the hike cycle, brought some buyers to the market. Those buyers are still there. Those buyers are armed with pre-approvals that do outlive the next rate hike. And make no mistake, this coming March, I'd be very surprised to see a halt to the cycle. This coming March should probably show us another 25 basis point increase, but that is yet to be seen. I don't expect them to halt it. I don't expect it to be a bigger than than expected increase. So overall, I think we will be just fine. But we'll have to wait and see. What this means for us in Toronto, if you're a home seller, you still do have that window to come to market to take advantage of this improved buyer sentiment that we have right now. Like I said, people are calling their mortgage brokers. They're getting their pre-approvals, which last up to 90 days from now. So that's going out to March, April, mid-May. So the spring should be relatively similar to what we have right now, unless there's some other economic change that is unexpected. But the summertime, and listen, the summertime is, over the past 3 years, every single summer has been an interesting lull. There has been decreased activity. Prices did get adjusted every summer for the past 3 summers, especially the summer of 2020 after an initial spike in activity, the summer of 2021, and the summer of 2022. Summer of 2022 is when some people first started calling the slowdown, when we saw a decrease in sales activity, etc. That was more so people just really enjoying the summer, as it was an awesome one with like literally no rain last year. So this summer should show us another lull. So if you are a seller, now is the time to get to market, because there are enough buyers out there with literally no supply. Like, we're working with some buyers all across the city right now, but the most difficult time we're having right now are buyers that are looking in specific urban communities all the way up Kingston Road through Highland Creek, which is an awesome little neighborhood. There are only essentially, well, if you're looking at, let's look at our chart here. Going into the Kingston Road corridor, which I wanted to highlight specifically, only 35 active listings in this huge area, which is essentially just east of the beach, all the way up to Highland Creek, which is like 5 minutes before Pickering. Like, that's not a huge area to only have 35 sales listings when we normally have like into the 70s. So this is the most undersupplied stretch in the entire city, and we happen to have some active buyers in this area. There is essentially only one property per, one property that 3 of our buyers want right now. And that's not something that I've seen in a long time. So multiple offers are still likely going to happen. And remember last week we talked about 74% of every single house that's sold in this area, the urban market, went into multiple offers over asking. This tooth killing me. And kind of going back to the inventory situation here, we added 10 listings week over week, and for condos we added none. So, it really is another signal that we don't have any people panicking in the market right now, despite the increase in power of sale properties. And, oftentimes when we talk about power of sale properties, we'll have people reach out, hey, send me a list of power of sale properties. There's really no benefit to you receiving this list of power of sale properties because there is no deal on it. You don't get some sort of special deal because the bank is forcing the sale. And that's another thing people don't understand is that when people see a power of sale, they assume that the bank now owns that property. That's not true. The bank is forcing the sale on behalf of the defaulted mortgagor, the person who owns the property technically. That person can step in until the very last minute and make up any default, any arrears, and nullify any purchase agreement that's in place. So it's not really the end of the road for that person until the property is closed and money is exchanged hands. And the bank doesn't have access to any sort of profit margin. The bank just doesn't take everything. The bank takes what they're owed plus arrears, penalties, etc. And if there's room there, that goes to the person who's defaulted. So it's not always such a black and white scenario of, oh, you defaulted, that means the bank takes your whole house and they take all your profits if there are any. It's not really like that. Every power of sale goes to market just like any other property. So there's no benefit in fixating on power of sales because you're not getting those any cheaper than other properties. In fact, sometimes they're more complicated to purchase. So that's really more of a US fixation versus a Canadian fixation. So back to the economy. I mean, March will probably have a rate hike of 25 basis points. What's that going to do to the market? I mean, who knows? It's going to take some wind out of some buyers' sales. If you're a more cautious buyer, you're going to sit back because now you're uncertain. January's announcement gave you some certainty. It gave you some certainty that we hadn't seen in a long time. It gave you that peace of mind that, hey, rates aren't continuously going through the roof. There is a chance this thing might turn around. I mean, the projection was to have inflation at somewhere around 3% midway through 2023. I really don't see that happening now, considering how slowly it's coming down. So I think that we're in for a rockier decline or rockier deflation than on the way up, which seemed to be a little bit more, I don't want to say predictable, but a lot of supply chains have been repaired. A lot of things are sort of back to normal. But what's really affecting a lot of prices is the fact that, it costs a lot more to hire somebody today. So anyway, this tooth is just killing me. I can't go on any longer right now. I've got to get to the dentist and dig this thing out. So please read the blog. There's a lot of good information in there this week. And I would love your subscription and your comments and all of that good stuff. So thank you so much for your attention. Real Estate Raccoons out.